Hey, welcome back, man. This is Jamal with Basic Gun Mechanics. Here to see if I can answer a question for you guys. You know what I mean? I was posed with a question today by somebody who said, "How many times can I fire, right, or shoot somebody before it becomes illegal?" Right? That's a great question. That's a question a lot of people ask, right? So I'm here in Florida. Right, the legal standard for us here, you have a stand your ground law, right? We don't have a duty to retreat. So what does that mean? I mean, that's all different types of situations, right? We can look at. However, we're going to address the one, how many times can you shoot somebody, you know what I mean, in Florida? So let me see if I can answer that. So our legal standard here in Florida, and most states too who have stand your ground law, the standard is you reasonably, without a doubt, are in imminent danger, or you're about to die, or great bodily harm is being caused towards you, right? However, you have to use the necessary force to stop that threat. Now, that's tied to self-defense law, right? And reinforced by the stand your ground law here in Florida. So the key word, stop. Stop, guys, stop, right? This is where discipline comes in. This is where training comes in, right? We're not doing it to punish anybody, not to get even, not to make, sure that person is down forever. Like, that's not what we're doing, right? So mind you, we're trying to protect our life or someone who loves life. So what does that look like? You don't have to shoot X amount of number of times, right? This is where the training comes in, where I train other people, right? My clients and students. I tell them, if you have to use your weapon, if you have to fire, you assess the situation, and you only continue if the threat is still active. That is key. So if the attacker drops the weapon, he falls and stops moving, turns and runs, any of those things, right? Anything to say he's not a threat anymore, you stop shooting. Point blank, period. This is where discipline comes in. This is where, finger discipline comes in. This is where you have to be aware. This is where you're not, being taken over by emotion and everything. This is where training comes in. This is why training is so important, right? You have to stop shooting if these things occur. Now, if they keep advancing, they keep attacking, or still have the ability to harm you, then you continue until they no longer pose a threat. No longer pose a threat. That's key. So, why the number of shots is the wrong mindset, right? Because people get in trouble when they think like this: I'm shooting 2 times, I'm shooting to end the mag, I'm shooting to just only to wound them, right? That's not how you want to look at, that type of situation. And that's not how this works in court. Because what matters, right? What matters is, in court, was each shot justified at the moment it was fired? I'm going to say that again. Was each shot justified at the moment it was fired? you could fire 1 round and be justified, right? You can fire 10 rounds and be justified. Or fire 2 rounds and the second was unlawful if the threat had already stopped. The first one might have dropped them, but then the second one, you say, well, I'm gonna go ahead and Call of Duty him then. That's what you don't want to do. That's what you don't want to do. This is why training, again, is so important. So that, like, I cannot emphasize that any more than what I'm doing. Training is so important, right? So the bottom line, right? You can walk away from this, right? Is if your life is truly in danger, you are justified in using deadly force. But only as long as the danger exists. Only as long as that danger exists. The moment the threat ends, you're legally justified ends with it, right? So the moment the threat ends, your legal justification ends with that. Period. So when the threat stops, you stop. Nothing more, nothing less. This is why training is important. Again, this is why training is important. Because without training, you're not going to know these type of things in the heat of battle, right? In the heat of the moment, you're defending your life or the loved ones. You're going to be taken over by adrenaline, emotion, and all these things, fear, anxiety, and you're just going to just mag down. So we're not counting rounds. The only thing that's important is we stop the threat, period. When the threat stops, we stop. If the threat continues, we continue to protect our lives and defend ourselves until that threat is ended. Point blank, period. Hope that helps, man. You got any questions, feel free to call me, email, whatever the case might be. Hey, come out, join me on the range, come out and get some training, because it's important. And, you come out and train with me, these are the things that you will also learn. You'll learn how to assess, you'll learn how to stop, you'll learn how to defend yourself properly, without all the gimmicks, right? So, with that, go and support my YouTube page, Basic Gun Mechanics, or at Basic Gun Mechanics, on YouTube and social medias and things of that nature. With that being said, remember, everything starts with the basics. I cannot stress that. Everything starts with the basics. All right, y'all, take care, man. Any questions, let me know.